reach any 911 emergency.
This is Tommy Gaston. I've got a man that's been shot.
Picture this, a quiet, loving family in a small Texas town, completely shattered in one horrifying night. After her parents told her to stop seeing her boyfriend, she sought revenge by having her family brutally murdered in their sleep.
O'clock in the morning when Penny and I would be awoken to the sound of our doorknob hitting our dryer there in the laundry room, which was next to our bedroom. Very quickly, the gunfire began to erupt. The loudest sound that you can ever imagine.
How did a 16-year-old plan such a brutal betrayal? What could push someone to destroy the people who loved her most?
I've got an entire notebook here where people are saying it is your idea to kill your parents, that you were emphatic to kill your parents. They would say, let's just run away. I mean, oh, come on, let's just run away. No, I want them dead. Are they all lying?
You know, every young girl said, oh, I wish my parents were dead, but I didn't mean it.
This is the shocking story of a family's worst nightmare, a crime so chilling it's hard to believe it's real. Let's uncover the truth behind the Aaron Cafe case. To understand how this horrifying tragedy unfolded, we need to look back at the beginning, a time when everything seemed picture perfect. The Caffey family lived in a quiet, rural Texas town, leading a simple and faith-centered life. Terry Caffey, the father, worked hard to provide for his wife, Penny, and their 3 children, a teenage daughter and 2 young boys. Penny was deeply devoted to her family, homeschooling the children and nurturing them with love and care. They were the kind of family that spent Sundays at church, shared meals around the dinner table, and prioritized strong morals and family values. Their daughter, like most teenagers, began to crave independence. As she navigated high school life, she started to pull away from her parents' strict rules, testing the boundaries of their structured home. Despite this, the Caffeys maintained a tight bond, deeply rooted in their religious beliefs. However, everything began to change when the daughter met a boy who quickly became the center of her world. He was charming, rebellious, and offered her a glimpse into a freer, more exciting life outside of her parents' watchful eyes. Their connection grew intense and fast, but it clashed with the family's values. Her parents became concerned, believing the relationship was unhealthy and moving too quickly. They tried to intervene, setting rules to protect their daughter and guide her back toward the principles they had instilled in her. What began as teenage rebellion, though, would soon spiral out of control in ways no one could have anticipated. The family's attempts to set boundaries became a trigger for something far darker, an unimaginable betrayal that would tear their world apart. 5 months before their brutal murders, the Caffey family's lives began to unravel when 16-year-old Aaron Caffey started dating 18-year-old Charlie Wilkinson. The two met while Aaron was working part-time at a Sonic fast food restaurant, and their relationship quickly grew intense. Wilkinson gave Aaron a promise ring, a family heirloom from his grandmother, and openly shared his plans to marry her. However, Aaron's parents, Terry and Penny Caffey, were deeply concerned about Wilkinson from the start. Terry later admitted, "There were just things about him that didn't sit right with me." His instincts were tragically accurate. The Caffeys, devout churchgoers and passionate musicians, lived a quiet life centered around family and faith. Penny played piano at church, while their sons, 8-year-old Tyler and 13-year-old Matthew, played guitar and harmonica. Erin herself was the family's vocalist until her relationship with Wilkinson began. As Erin grew closer to Wilkinson, she started slipping in school and rebelling against her parents. Concerned, Terry and Penny took to the internet to investigate her boyfriend. Wilkinson's MySpace page was filled with troubling content, including sexual innuendos and references to drinking alcohol. Alarmed, the Caffeys decided to intervene. In February 2008, after Erin broke her phone curfew, her parents demanded that she end the relationship. That same month, Erin began discussing killing her parents with friends, convinced it was the only way she could be with Wilkinson. Soon after, Erin and Wilkinson conspired with Wilkinson's friend, Charles Wade, to carry out a horrific plan. While accounts differ on who masterminded the plot, Wilkinson claimed he had suggested running away together, but Erin allegedly insisted on murder. On the night of March 1st, 2008, Wilkinson and Wade arrived at the Caffey home armed and ready. Erin and Wade's girlfriend waited in the car while the two men entered the house. Before going inside, Wilkinson told Erin that her younger brothers had to die to eliminate witnesses. Erin reportedly replied coldly, "I don't care. Just do what you got to do." Inside, Wilkinson entered Terry and Penny's bedroom and opened fire with a pistol. Terry struck multiple times, watched helplessly as his wife died beside him. When Wilkinson's gun jammed, Wade used a samurai-style sword to nearly decapitate Penny. The men then turned their attention to Tyler and Matthew, who were hiding upstairs. Terry later recounted hearing Matthew's terrified cries, "No, Charlie, no. Why are you doing this?" Before both boys were killed, Tyler was shot in the face, and Matthew was brutally attacked with the sword. After the murders, Wilkinson and Wade ransacked the house, searching for valuables. Wilkinson had promised Wade $2,000 for his involvement. Finally, they poured lighter fluid on the furniture and set the house ablaze. Miraculously, Terry Caffey regained consciousness as flames consumed the house. Despite severe injuries, he managed to crawl out of a window and drag himself through the woods to a neighbor's house, a painstaking journey that took an hour.
Once I realized I could not save Penny, so I crawled to the woods to the back of her house. My closest neighbor was 400 yards away. That was Tommy and Helen Gaston. I knew that if I died right there, something told me that maybe they would get away with it. Somebody had to tell who did this.
When authorities arrived, they found Terry clinging to life. Asked where he was bleeding from, the neighbor grimly responded, "Where isn't he bleeding from?" After emergency surgery, Terry stabilized enough to speak. He identified Charlie Wilkinson as the attacker. Police quickly tracked Wilkinson to a trailer where he lived. To their shock, they found Erin Caffey there, appearing dazed and claiming she had been kidnapped. As investigators unraveled the truth, Erin's role in the heinous crime came to light. Her betrayal devastated her surviving father, who had lost his wife and sons in a plot orchestrated by the daughter he had tried so hard to protect. What followed was a shocking and heartbreaking legal battle, forever cementing the Caffey family tragedy in infamy. Less than 24 hours after the murders at the Caffey home, all 4 suspects were in custody, and they were all talking. Charlie's friend approached the police and told them about his conversation with Charlie that happened a few days after he was arrested.
Had you ever had conversations with Charlie before about any of this? About a month ago, he was telling me that his girlfriend was thinking about it. Charlie was telling me, I asked him, he came over and it was just a typical hangout night. I said, "What's new, Charlie?" And he said, "Well, Erin's talking about murdering her parents." And I was like, "No way." He was like, "Yeah, she is." And I was like, "She trying to get you to do it?" He was like, "Yeah, but I can't, dude. They got 2 little kids in that house." I was like, "I know. If you ever need help, just come to me, Charlie. I'll keep you out of trouble." But seems like it didn't work. I asked him why he did it and what he was thinking when he did it, and he just never really gave me a flat-out answer on that.
Erin Caffey's story about being kidnapped quickly unraveled. Both Wilkinson and Wade told authorities the same thing. The entire plan had been her idea. Despite their claims, Erin maintained her innocence, insisting to her grandparents that she had no part in her family's murder. Wilkinson testified that he had initially suggested they run away together, but in the end, Erin Caffey, Wilkinson, Wade, and Wade's girlfriend were all charged with 3 counts of capital murder. Wilkinson and Wade received life sentences without the possibility of parole, while Caffey was also sentenced to life, though she will be eligible for parole after 40 years. Prosecutors had initially sought the death penalty for Wilkinson and Wade, but Terry Caffey, despite everything he had endured, intervened and requested a life sentence instead. His decision was rooted in the forgiveness his faith had taught him.
I want people to know that I've moved on. You know, I've got a wonderful life. I have a great wife and 4 beautiful children. When I tell my story, I talk about how difficult it is, even to this day, to go visit my daughter Erin, who's in prison. And that's difficult. And it's a reminder of her choices, but it also, not only is she facing the situation, being in prison because of her choices, others are affected. You know, when a young person, I let them know, when you make a bad decision, it not only affects you, but it'll affect those around you, your parents, you know, your brothers, sisters, grandparents. So it has a long-lasting, I mean, it goes out and reaches out to so many people when you make those bad choices.
In an exclusive interview, Dr. Phil goes behind prison bars to speak with Erin Caffey for the first time since her conviction. This revealing conversation offers Erin's perspective on the tragic events that led to the loss of her family and the violent turn her life took.
Did you mastermind this crime? Were you the motivating force behind this happening? If not the motivating force, a motivating force.
I probably added fuel to the fire.
You wanted them dead. Tell me what you're thinking.
I wasn't thinking that night. I mean, I wasn't like mad at them or anything like that. I feel like it just happened.
You got tired of them bickering and said, just do it. Is that true? I'm sorry?
Yes.
The tragic story of Erin Caffey and the brutal murders of her family leaves behind a trail of heartbreak, betrayal, and unanswered questions. While Erin continues to maintain her innocence, the horrific actions she took, along with the lives lost, will never be forgotten. As we reflect on the Caffey family's devastating fate, it's a sobering reminder of how easily lives can be shattered by the choices of those we trust the most. Erin's actions and the tragic consequences of her decisions will forever haunt the memory of a family that was once full of love and faith. The story is far from over, as Erin's journey through the legal system and her relationship with her surviving father remain part of a complex and ongoing saga. Only time will tell what the future holds for her and for Terry Caffey, who continues to navigate a life forever changed by his daughter's betrayal. While this daughter meticulously planned the murder of her family, the father in this story did something that defied all expectations.